Family, it is Tara Chantel, and I just want to share with you a testimony from Tony Gaskins Academy. We just wrapped up the 7-day power session calls for 2021, and it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year because I invested into that power session group call. Tony Gaskins, this brother right here, when I tell you he went over and beyond to feed us so much gems, so much knowledge, so much real talk. It was just so real. It was so organic, and it was like no other. I feel a true shift arising from this. One topic that I would love to share with you is the power of thinking abundantly and being in gratitude and giving. So that was all in one session. But these are fundamental core values that you must have to travel in this journey with. And when I tested myself, after he dropped so much gems on us about being gratitude, about thinking abundantly, and about giving. So I tested myself how to give not just 18 to 15%. I gave 25% when I got my nails did. And when I tell you that effect, after I gave over and beyond, Tony Gaskins said in the call, an extra dollar won't hurt. And when I heard that in my head, an extra dollar won't hurt. If I tip after getting my nails done, when I had such a great experience, I left in a timely manner. Everything went smooth. So why not tip extra? Why not tip an extra dollar? Because it won't hurt, right? So I did that. I tipped an extra dollar than I normally would because I had to challenge myself to be in gratitude, to think abundantly. And once I challenged myself, God then blessed me. God then blessed me with a check in my PayPal account. And it was so unexpected, but this happened instantly right after I tipped extra and over and beyond to be in somebody else's blessing. And that is just a little tip, a little insight Tony left us with. But just the character Tony has to better society, better the human race is just phenomenal. The last call just took it there. We were on the call for 4 hours and he was doing a Q&A session. The patience this brother has. When I tell you the questions can be long-winded, and when I tell you Tony never interrupted nobody when they asked a question. And he would just go over and beyond to share knowledge, to share the wisdom that he has. It's truly a blessing and it's a gift from God because the realness is so rare to see. Because I have been observing other coaches, how they overcharge courses, they overcharge their prices. They don't have that integrity that Tony has, that humility, the character, and the godliness and the righteous mind Tony has. And I took other Tony Gaskins Academy courses and I gained so much insight. I gained so much knowledge. And this is not an affiliate marketing technique. It's just truly the effect Tony Gaskin has over all of our lives is truly impactful because God is working through him. God is all up in it, and the way that his personality shines and the way that he gives and the way that he is truly being a blessing, and God is just going to continue to bless him because it just shows how it's all possible. You can have a 7-figure business being a whole solo entrepreneur. You can work for God and be a whole millionaire out here. You can just do the right thing and get rewarded in the end. And Tony is a prime example. He is just such a great role model for all of us, all women, all men as well, because the way he carries himself, but just the power call itself was just articulating core values that we must have. When I tell you, the first call was about gratitude, and I just remember this so precisely because I was in tears. I was crying because I'm like, this brother is really preaching, and it just hits home because God is using him. God is really all up through him. It really has to be in you, not on you. And the way that you can just be of service is truly amazing, because I really appreciate the people who don't lead with money, who doesn't try to sell you, oh, I make this amount of money, I do this, I do that. You are leading with God, and that's how you're going to attract people towards you organically and authentically, when you are just being yourself and sharing your life that God has placed within you, because it's truly not about money in the end. It's truly nothing about money. So that's why we cannot be driven off of people who tries to show these ads about these fancy cars, or I make this amount of money, because that doesn't guarantee that you're going to make that amount of money. That doesn't have to do with your success. The way that Tony Gaskins just shares knowledge, shares insight. We had 7 power calls, and the last one was 4 hours. 4 hours of Q&A. You didn't cut nobody off when they had a question. You let people talk through how they were thinking and their thought process, letting them air out whatever they had in their heart. I noticed everything. I didn't even ask a question through the whole 7-day challenge because I was just listening the whole time. And it was about 300 of us. So everybody was not going to have their question answered. But when you just sit and observe, when you sit and observe someone being a servant and working for God, that truly makes you feel so much at ease and so thankful, because it's truly possible how you can work for God. You don't have to sell your soul. You don't have to sell yourself short when you are doing godly work and you are living right. And just the cause itself spoke so much values, because you don't hear this often. You don't hear talks like, oh, you need to close your legs. You don't hear these talks like, oh, you need to have integrity and move on integrity. You need to shift your mindset. You need to change your vocabulary. You need to speak different. You need to cut people off who doesn't serve best interest in you. We talked about family. We talked about friends. We talked about things that money cannot buy. Things that money cannot buy. That is how I know that 2021, just this simple investment, $25 ain't nothing. $25 ain't nothing, but it was truly the best investment I have invested in yet, because the way I feel, the way I view life right now is so much differently because of these 7 amazing phone calls, 7 sessions of insight, knowledge, and wisdom. I feel the growth. I see the shift in my life because taking the insight and actually acting on it, not just listening, like, I hear what you're saying, but actually doing it. So I'm going to tip extra. I'm going to live in gratitude. I'm going to think abundantly. I'm not going to talk down on myself. I'm not going to belittle myself. I'm going to speak truth to power. I'm going to speak wisdom. And that is all what Tony talks about. And that's what he lives by, is he speaks truth to power, because he's working for God. He's not working for nobody else. So he's not afraid to speak the real. He's talking about racism, about colorism, about the mentality of women and closing their legs, about grown boys' ways and how they act. And this is real life that we living in. And that's why I can relate so much. And we all can relate to Tony Gaskins, because he is truly a living legend. The way that he is impacting all of our lives. And I just appreciate him so much, because he is truly a virtual coach out here. He is my virtual coach, because I notice other people, how they move, and it's phony. It's phony. The way that I see Tony Gaskins approach with his videos, how he moves and how he treats his family. You just want to continue to support, continue to give, continue to show love, share light, because it's rare to find someone that thinks the way Tony thinks, that acts the way Tony thinks, and that is truly living by God. These phone calls were telling us ways that we can just develop such a closer relationship with God if you live right. You really have to live righteously out here if you want success. A lot of people don't even live right. So when you're living right, you're doing right, and then on top of that, you have material success. That speaks volumes for me, because you don't not only have spiritual success, emotional success, but then you have materialized it. So we can see the success, because a lot of people don't believe it until they see it, because of just the small mentality that one has. But now we see it, that you are a millionaire, that you make 6 to 7 figures by yourself. Let me tell you this again. By yourself. You don't need a team. You don't need this and that. You can do with what you got, with where you're at, and have success and have favor on your life if you're living right. And if you're living right. And that means you got to sacrifice. That means you have to give up vices. That means you have to not be with people who don't see the best in you and don't see your heart. I truly feel so inspired from the power calls, from attending Tony Gaskins Academy and the courses as well. I advise you guys, if you want knowledge, if you want wisdom and insight, and just want to be the best version of yourself, hey, get with the brother. Get with the brother. Because just off of just testing it and testing myself by just giving an extra dollar, being giving, paying for people's food, sending people's cash app now, just truly being a blessing. Blessings just come organically and it just flows. And that is just the law of the universe. If you are living right, doing right, being right, you are going to get rewarded in the end. You got to just trust the process and trust the success. But the most important thing to focus on for success is spiritually be successful within yourself, and then outwardly the success will come. But the focus should not lead with money. The focus should not just be about money and just be moved off of money. Money is going to come if you're living right and doing right and being right. So remember that. I just want to thank Tony Gaskins Academy for truly just being a blessing and sharing the wisdom, sharing the insight, and being a faithful servant to God and doing the calling. And let's not forget, this brother is truly a sit-down comedian. So that just sprinkles it on top when you funny with the realness that you're talking about. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in and tapping in. And I'm going to put all the links below. And I'm going to meet you at the top, baby.